goal is super effective. Good morning. Welcome to this worship service at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. I am the Reverend Monica Jacobson. I use she, her pronouns. I serve this congregation as minister. And if you are joining us in person this morning, I welcome you to our kind of chilly sanctuary. Oops. I'm getting a gesture that my sound is not coming forth. We're going to see what can happen. In the meantime, I want to name that the power went out in the storm yesterday. And although the power came back on, we have learned this morning that the thermostat in this room does not perceive itself as being accurate. So, there is heat in the fellowship hall. We may try something creative with setting up some fans or something. You're welcome to go and sit in that room if you need to warm up a bit. You're welcome to keep your coats on. I will not assume you are about to walk out in protest if I see you pulling on your hats. Do what you need to do. And the nursery's warm, so you can always go down and volunteer in RE if you'd like. And if you're joining us online, I hope you're warm where you are. Leading worship with me today are Barbara Stebbins-Bose as our celebrant, our Director of Religious Exploration, Molly Brown. Ariana Kirkpatrick is our lifelong lay minister today. Our music director, Grace Curran, is leading our hymns. Lori Ann Schmidt is on piano. Sarah Pickett is at the tech table. And our slides were made by Doc Patrick. It's always a group effort to create worship here. And that includes all of you. Because if you did not come to be part of this service, we would be doing something very interesting in an empty room. We gather this morning as a community of seekers, each and every one of us carrying questions, searching for wisdom and inspiration to help us live lives of meaning. We gather together always to wonder at life's mysteries, to express our gratitude for life's gifts, and to grieve together during life's hardships. You are welcome here exactly as you are. Whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person you will be. Today, we pause to recognize that we gather on the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Santiam and the Anhunchuk tribes of the Kalapuya people, who were forcibly removed and displaced to reservations following the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855. Today, their living descendants are part of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and Confederated Tribes of Select Indians, whose relationship with this land continues to this day. We recognize and send our greetings to the Indigenous peoples of these lands and those who have stewarded them from time immemorial. And now, will you join with me in taking a good, deep breath? Feel the air come in and fill your body. Feel the air go out. Know that you are here in this time, in this place, on this land, and not anywhere else. Come, let us worship together. As you are willing and able, please rise in body, in voice, or in spirit to join in singing hymn number 203, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky.
Shining Please join me as we recite our affirmation together. The words are projected and printed in your order of service.
Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration. Build a community of caring fellowship. Nurture the hopes and serve the needs of our world.
Every Sunday, we mark the beginning of our sacred time together by creating the light of our faith. We light the chalice of this Unitarian Universalist congregation to acknowledge this place of welcome and belonging, a place for seeking answers, a space for quiet reflection. Next, we light the chalice of our Unitarian partner church in Siemens-Falva, Transylvania, Romania. Our final chalice is for our children and youth here and around the world. May this little fire light up your imaginations and hearts to make new friends, care for each other.
I'm afraid my sound is quite high now. We light one additional candle this morning to help us hold some sad news. Lorna Youngs, a longtime member of this congregation, died at home on Friday evening. She was surrounded by her family and held in love. And as we have a date to share with you for a memorial service, you will be notified so that all who wish to gather and remember Lorna together are able to be part of that gathering. Oh no, I better light the candle again.
And let us sing the flames to life.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Today we have a special kind of time for all ages. We have a wonder box. Has anyone ever heard of a wonder box before? Okay, no ringers today. New to everybody. Good situation. So, would you like to introduce the Wonder Box, Molly?
Sure. Good morning. So we have this special box that was decorated by the LRE program children. And we're about halfway done. We still have to decorate it some more. But this is a special box that we use to introduce a special surprise during the service or back in LRE. So it has something to do with the theme of the week and the month, which right now is compassion. And so we have something special inside. So if everybody young or young at heart could come on up front, we're going to choose somebody to open the box and see what's inside.
And then we're going to wonder together about what it is and what it means. So just because you're not coming up doesn't mean you are exempt from wondering what we are exploring.
Good morning.
But come on up, because we need some volunteers to help wonder with us.
Yeah, good morning. Come on up.
Good morning.
You can bring your mom if you want.
This is for all ages. Anybody's welcome to come forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, do we have a volunteer to look and see what is in the Wonder Box? Yeah?
All right.
Okay, why don't you both come up together? Come here. Yeah, come on. And I don't actually know how this box opens, Molly. I wonder how we can open this box. There we go. Excellent. Exactly.
That's right. So much wonder.
What is in here? Who wants to lift it out?
Take it out.
Okay. See if we can get it out of here. It's a little tucked in.
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Ooh.
Let's lift it all the way out.
You guys want to stand up and show everybody what it is?
Yeah. Oh, what is it? It's just a map.
What is it a map
Well, what
of?
kind of map? It's a map of, looks like North America. Kind of, yeah. Maybe a little bit of some other continents too. It's a map of North America. What do you notice about this map? It has colors on it. That's right. It's showing how people describe the land being divided into countries. And there's names for places on there. Do you see lots of words for names? Yeah. Okay.
Can
So,
anybody find us on the map?
yeah, do you know where we are on this map? We're in Oregon, that's right.
Good job.
But where is Oregon?
Where is it?
Over here by the coast. Okay.
Right there.
So this is one kind of map. I want to show you another kind of map this morning.
Yeah, you can keep holding that. Thank you.
Some of you may have seen this on the wall in my office. This is another map of the continent that many people call North America, which is also known as Turtle Island. What do we notice that's different on this map? It doesn't have all the colors. That's right. It doesn't show division into these countries. It maybe has way more words. Yeah, it has a lot of explanatory text.
No Antarctica.
No, no Antarctica.
That's right.
Now, here's something interesting. So do you see the map you're holding? So what if I turn this map like this? Does it make it more similar to the one you're holding? Maybe. Yeah. So a lot of maps show north as the direction that points up, right? This map shows east as the direction that points up. This is a choice that a map maker can make to show what direction they think of as the one you start from. So this map is a way to try to bring together a lot of different indigenous and native names for places on this continent, Turtle Island, and it includes the shared understanding of east as the direction that you start from. So east is up on this map. Now the map Molly is holding shows what we can call a colonial and a colonized understanding of this continent, which includes the idea that north is the direction you start from, so north is up. When we look at these two maps, how does it feel to look at both of them? This is a question for big kids as well as kids who are sitting on the floor. How do you feel looking at these two maps side by side? Good? Yeah. Is it good to see both sets? Does it make you wonder about anything? It does. Yeah. Does it make you wonder maybe about all the different stories that happen on these lands? Does it make you wonder why one map is a lot more common than the other? Yeah? Yeah. So we are now on a Sunday past Indigenous Peoples Day and just prior to Indigenous Heritage Month. And on this Sunday, we are taking some time to talk about the stories of people indigenous to Turtle Island, the ways that those stories have often not been honored and in fact been erased, and what it means to try to bring these stories back into everyone's awareness again. So when you question, yeah. Why do they call it Turtle Island? So lots of different people have different stories about how the world came to be. And in many indigenous traditions, the story is that the world rides on the back of a turtle. So we live on a kind of turtle island. So that's where the name comes from. Yeah. So Molly is going to take the lantern, and those of you who would like to go to RE will have a chance to explore this topic more in your RE session. And if you're staying here in the sanctuary, we will be exploring this topic more in our worship service.
If you can stand up and create the love arch, we'll be on our way. Thank you.
Wherever you walk, walk in love. Wherever you walk in peace. Wherever you walk in beauty all around you. Our hearts go with you. Wherever you walk in love. Wherever you walk in peace. Wherever you walk in beauty all around you. Our hearts go with you.
One morning last week, I woke up in the dark again. It's dark out early, you noticed, with conflicted feelings. I actually love getting up early and going outside for a walk in the quiet, dark, before most of the neighborhood stirs. It feels special, holy even, as if all the living things, animals, plants, insects, are at peace, finished with nocturnal chores and not quite ready for daytime. Yet, I also felt the tug to linger in bed, to sleep, really to hibernate, because, well, that's how my body responds to the shorter days and the longer nights. And then there is my dog, Winnie the Pooch, my faithful walking companion. And what was on her mind at that early hour? Well, she was curled into a tight ball with the tip of her tail covering her nose. She was not ready to get up, not at 6:30, not at 7:30, not even 8:30. So, in the spirit of cultivating compassion, the theme of this month, I let her get up when her body told her. This may seem like a small gesture, but it had a surprising and wonderful consequence on this particular morning. Because our walk in Bush Park was later than usual, it coincided with something unexpected. I heard drumming and turned toward the sound, where I saw a group of people standing in a circle under the oak trees, listening quietly. A woman held the drum, now silent. As Winnie and I got closer, someone called out to me, "Barbara, my students are going to plant camas lilies here." It was my friend and biology colleague from Willamette University, David Craig. Some of you may know him. He has a deep understanding of native ecology and indigenous cultural practices. I have learned from my botanist friends how important the camas lily was and still is to indigenous peoples of the Willamette Valley. The Kalapuya cultivated and harvested the bulbs of these plants, which taste something like sweet potato, but you must cook them. You must cook them. In the spring, camas lilies bloom in great blue swaths in the lower fields of Bush Park. In fact, before settlers arrived in 1850, the Kalapuya harvested the bulbs there. It was only recently, when Bush Park changed its maintenance practices, that the lilies re-emerged from the ground. Now, through collaboration among a variety of folks, native plant species are being welcomed back to the upper regions of Bush Park, where the remnant oak savanna provides visitors with a place of natural beauty and joy. I felt the sacredness of that moment with the drum, with the students. I was witness to a re-engagement with native culture and habitat on land that over the years has been colonized, farmed, and now sustained as an urban public park, a place where all are invited to connect with each other and to the natural world.
Good morning. I'm Ariane Kirkpatrick, and I am honored to be one of your Lifeline's lay ministers. Lifeline's lay ministers are fellow members of this congregation who are here to help people in times of need. You can find us by looking for our lavender stoles and badges. One of our duties is sharing the joys and sorrows of members and friends of this congregation, because we know that shared sorrows may be lightened even a little, and shared joys may be magnified. Now, we are trying on another way of symbolizing what we share and hold together. For each joy or sorrow, we have a stone, a small piece of earth, strong enough to carry someone's story. The stones go into a bowl of water, the water symbolizing this community and reminding us of our joining of waters in our fall gathering. Each stone goes into the water. The ripples that form remind us that each life touches all of us. Today we have 2 joys and 2 sorrows to share. The first sorrow is from Carrie Lynn. Please keep my cat in your heart and hope he is safe, warm, and loved. Also, my friend Claudia has only a few days left, and her husband needs our good thoughts. The second concern is from Molly Kennedy. Please pray for my friend Miriam, that she is able to return from Mexico to her family safely tomorrow. And the joys, first one from Rhonda Holt, celebrating the birthday of her youngest son, Eric. And a joy from James and Valentina. James's stepmother, Sandra, recently had brain surgery to have a tumor removed. This is the 4th brain surgery, and last time they said there would not be a 4th. We're happy to report that she is doing well and is in great spirits in the recovery ward. And finally, we place 1 stone for all the joys and the sorrows carried in our hearts but unspoken today. Thank you.
Will you join with me in a time of reflection, of prayer, of meditation, of grounding, whatever is your practice, as we share these words from Laura Bogle. We gather here to remember this is our home, but not just ours. This land we live on, this water we drink, this air we breathe, these old mountains that hold us steady to our ground, these forests that give us their healing green, the flowers that give us their beauty and fragrance, these fields that give us our daily bread, these stars that show us our place, the wilderness and the tamed backyards, all of it our home. We remember the ancestors who have lived on this land, beginning with the Kalapuya, who have lived here since time immemorial. We honor the animals and creatures that have made their home in this land, the ones here now, the ones that used to be here. We remember our connections with all who live here now, the immigrants, the artists, the families, the business people, the engineers, the builders, the scientists, the teachers, the workers, the leaders. And we envision the future generations who will live on this land and let their voices fill our hearts. We gather here to remember that this is our home, but not just ours. Let us share a few breaths in silence. As our hearts and minds open even a little more to our connection, I invite you to join in singing our heart song while remaining seated. It's number 1031. It's in the teal hymnal if you'd like the paper version, Filled with Loving Kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
500 years of struggle have been a crucible and an unwelcome badge of honor. Indigenous people have been and remain spiritually joined to the land as caretakers of Mother Earth. They stand tall in a culture grounded in the land, the waters, wildlife, in a spiritual connectedness that fed a powerful strength to resist and fight back against settler colonialism in all of its diabolical forms of invasion. The forces of law, violence, and populations from abroad artificially created a United States of America on stolen indigenous lands, forcibly removing the people to make way for European occupation, and then proclaiming themselves lovers of liberty. Facing this truth is protesting historical lies. Indigenous resistance became this nation's original protest. Theirs is the longest struggle against oppression, using revolts, violence, direct action, and uprisings to challenge authoritarianism, maintain their culture, and continue their caretaking of this land. Teaching the history of this nation is protest, because young people should not become blind carriers of America's myth of immaculate conception. Protest can provide for the passing down of cultural traditions while resisting assimilationist deceptions, teaching all young people the true history of their country, and keeping self-love aflame despite generational trauma and the ever-changing winds of oppression.
That reading from Gloria Brown Marshall, a Black woman who is a legal scholar and a historian, and who, to my delight, was a surprise zoomed-in guest speaker at the transitional ministry training I went to earlier this month, names that there are many, many, many ways to protest and to resist oppression, including practicing telling more of the true story. And we will try today to add a little bit more to the telling of true stories of this land. In preparing for this sermon, one thing that struck me, that often strikes me when I start trying to figure out how to talk about history and present conditions on this continent, interactions between Indigenous American cultures and European American cultures, is that the language we use skews toward European ideas very quickly. It makes a lot of sense to ask questions like, whose land are we on? And to make declarations like, no person can be illegal on stolen land. These wordings are provocative in a useful way. They provoke the listener to begin asking deeper questions. And they remind us that this land that we live on, that many of us love, was not some mysteriously open space, a blank canvas just waiting for some white settlers to come and farm it. From time immemorial, land here and all through the American continents has been stewarded by the peoples of many nations and tribes. And any claim that the past or the current U.S. federal government gets to decide who can live where starts to erode once we name that the foundation of that power is really a grotesque kind of finders keepers mindset. It has long been dressed up as manifest destiny and used to oppress many peoples. But also, when I think about these questions, these statements, I think about the assumption underneath that it's possible for anyone to own the land, that the land can belong to people, rather than the people belonging to the land. So often, these assumptions are almost invisible until we begin to name how they interfere with truly understanding each other. James Wilson, a historian who has written a great deal about the many tragic, violent, terrible encounters between colonizing Europeans and many indigenous tribes and nations, has noted that even understandings of the nature of time can become complicated. He says that, speaking in very broad strokes, many European cultures prioritize knowing when something happened, and many Indigenous American cultures have prioritized knowing what it means that something happened. These different understandings of how we tell stories, of what makes up a history, have to be lifted up so that it is possible to tell more of what is true. Thomas King's book, The Truth About Stories, A Native Narrative, starts in this way. There's a story I know. It's about the earth and how it floats in space on the back of a turtle. I've heard this story many times, and each time someone tells the story, it changes. Sometimes the change is simply the voice of the storyteller. Sometimes it's the order of events. Other times it is the dialogue or the response of the audience. But in all the tellings of all the tellers, the world never leaves the turtle's back, and the turtle never swims away. One time, he says, it was in Prince Rupert, I think, a young girl in the audience asked about the turtle and the earth. If the earth was on the back of a turtle, what was below the turtle? Another turtle, the storyteller told her. And below that turtle, another turtle. And below that, another turtle. The girl began to laugh, enjoying the game, I imagine. So how many turtles are there? She wanted to know. The storyteller shrugged. No one knows for sure, he told her, but it's turtles all the way down. The truth about stories, Thomas King concludes, is that that's all we are. So how we tell the stories of this land matters deeply. It matters in terms of our ability to live out our shared values and practices, to honor the pluralism that is at the heart of UU communities, knowing that we come bringing different stories, different understandings, and that we hold together these pluralistic views. It matters to our ability to respect the inherent worth and dignity of every person, of every people. And it matters in terms of our ability to continue to unpack and to see through versions of history that have often dominated, the ones that have been handed out for a long time as though they were the singular narrative. Gloria Brown Marshall has also written, when Indigenous peoples of North America protested the original European settlers and their descendants about the taking, renaming, and distributing of their native land, it spurred a government-led propagandist campaign. Sidebar, do we know something about government propaganda? History doesn't exactly repeat, but it rhymes. Brown Marshall goes on to say, Native people fought negotiation, treaties, combat, and the courts using all forms of resistance. And newspapers, radio, television, and movies depicted the Indigenous who were in their right to defend themselves as the attackers. The white settlers and militia were portrayed as innocent defenders of their homesteads, and the U.S. cavalry massacres of Native peoples were characterized as heroic acts of bravery in a one-sided narrative. This is so often the story that has been handed down as though it were the only one. So we ask today, what would it mean? What would it look like to tell full and true stories, to emphasize what they mean? And what would it mean to begin to practice belonging to the land, honoring that this land has its own set of relationships separate from human ideas about deeds and property taxes? While writing a land acknowledgement is one part of practicing here in this community a piece of telling the stories. One way to acknowledge the history of this land, the injustice of the violence and the persecution and the removal of the Kalapuya. This is just one step, but it is one that we can explore. Dr. Anton Troyer, who is a member of the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe, teaches about land acknowledgements this way. He says, a good land acknowledgement will be local and specific, mentioning by name the tribes who have called the land in that area home. It will also acknowledge historical injustice, and it will make a call to action for the institution or group. But the real trick, he says, is to make sure we don't stop there. Acknowledgement is a first step, not the end of the journey. If it isn't followed up with real action, the statement is just performative. We need to work toward equity, inclusion, and empowerment of Native people in everything we do. Now, I know some of you have joined me this fall in taking a course titled Native American Studies for Everyone, offered through Chickadee Community Services in Montana. And I know that some of you also have been reading this book, The Tribal Histories of the Willamette Valley by David Lewis. If more folks are interested in reading it, perhaps we can form a book study group around it. I want to note that this book begins with a dedication that reads, I dedicate this book to the tribal people of Western Oregon who deserve to be told the truth about their history. I think it matters that we all learn more of the truth about the history of this land. This course, Native American Studies for Everyone, I came across it recommended in a newsletter I read, and it wasn't until I got into it that I realized it is a version of an extension course offered for public school teachers in Montana. The Montana State Constitution requires the teaching of Native studies. Article 10 of the state constitution reads, the state recognizes the distinct and unique cultural heritage of the American Indians and is committed in its educational goals to the preservation of their cultural integrity. Now, I don't know. This is the only state I'm aware of that has a requirement, rather than a recommendation, a suggestion, some curricula that could be included. But I also have learned through this course that although there is this statement in the state constitution, you need training for those who are teaching in order to make this declaration live. It is intended to be more than a directive to add a history class. It is intended to be a comprehensive way of including Indigenous history, culture, practices, and presence in all areas of Montana's public school curricula. So Montana educators created a set of essential understandings to ground their work, naming that within the state of Montana there are 12 sovereign tribes and that, quote, each tribe has a distinct and unique cultural heritage that contributes to modern Montana. Naming that, quote, just as there is great diversity among tribal nations, there is great diversity among individual American Indians as identity is developed, defined, and redefined by entities, organizations, and people. There is no generic American Indian. And they name that, quote, history is a story most often related through the subjective experience of the teller. With the inclusion of more and varied voices, histories are being rediscovered and revised. History told from American Indian perspectives frequently conflicts with the stories mainstream historians tell. They lay out 7 essential understandings, and they proved to be so helpful for teaching and conversation and learning that they were adapted by the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indian. And at least as of this weekend, you can still go on the website and download the PDF version of them. These understandings are necessary to help create spaces to undo the flattening that the dominant narrative has imposed upon so many peoples. Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz, the author of An Indigenous History of the United States, has pointed out that prior to encounter with European colonizers and the subsequent oppressions, Indigenous Americans did not necessarily have one sense of collective identity. In fact, estimates vary, but probably between 60 and 100 million people lived on the continent of North America, or Turtle Island, prior to 1491. making up hundreds of nations and tribes speaking somewhere between 300 to 500 languages from more than 50 language families. For comparison, Europe in the 1490s had 40 to 70 languages from 2 language families. It may have been, Dunbar Ortiz speculates, in the need to join together to resist oppression that a collective identity of solidarity was forged among Indigenous North Americans. And it may also have been that a collective identity was imposed by the flattening action of colonialism that wanted to treat all Indigenous peoples as one category. So the Montana Essential Understandings are one piece of pushing back, saying there are many ways to be Native. There are many ways to live on this land. There are many, many identities and stories, not one generic way of being. And we know that this work of telling the stories of the past with care and attention is not all that is needed. There are questions about the present and the future that require attention as well. It matters that we tell the truth about the past. It matters that we all learn to tell more of the stories and to listen more deeply, because truth-telling is a necessary element for healing. The wrongs of the past cannot be undone, but learning to hold the truth of what happened can help to open up space for the path forward. And especially for those of us who are white, learning and practicing holding space for all the stories, all the truths, all the things we might not have known that come from the lives of those of us who are Indigenous. This is essential to shift the patterns of dominant culture that for too long have denied some of those stories. The call is to seek to co-create communities, as we do in so many ways, to co-create communities that respectfully, with care, hold space for all the stories. And this is, I think, an understanding that is core to our call as Unitarian Universalists. For a lot of the 20th century, Unitarian Universalists had a kind of onward and upward forever vibe, which is incredibly optimistic. But I also think that vibe over time and now into the 21st century has deepened into less of an inherent upward trajectory and more into an acknowledgement that healing is always possible when we are able to truly meet each other. We know healing is often not linear. We know this as individuals, as families, as communities, as societies. But we also know that it is possible. And so is transformation. So what is it that we can do now to live in ways that help us tell more of the stories, understand ourselves as belonging to the land and being in relationship with all those who belong to this land? Well, here's one small place to start. You can get in the habit, wherever you are, of learning to whom the land is related. There is a tool online, and I hope that Sarah will be able to bring up a slide. This is from the website native-land.ca. There's also an app, the Native Land app, and this allows you to look up any place on Earth, although it mainly has information about North and South America, and see overlapping layers for all those people indigenous to that place. When you download the app, it begins with a statement that reads, "Native Land Digital honors the sovereignty of all indigenous nations, their lands, and their waters. We recognize that these boundaries and territories are representations of the sacred." Their statement concludes, "This is an honoring of indigenous resilience, past, present, and future." Sarah, could you click to the next slide? So this little pin is right here. I entered 5090 Center Street Northeast. And you can see, I hope, that along the side, I'm probably standing in front of it, along the side there is a listing of all the nations you can click through to find tribal websites to be able to come to a deeper understanding of where folks are, what is happening, who are we inherently related to by virtue of connection to this land. This is not a place to end, but it is a place to start. One practice to adopt that invites awareness of the fuller story. Anton Troyer writes, "Land is not just a financial resource, it is part of identity for Indigenous people and part of sovereignty for Native nations. In recent years, governments, nonprofits, and citizens have made efforts to pursue restorative justice, to remedy historical injustices and inequities. We can try to support Indigenous language revitalization, strengthen tribal sovereignty, and support repatriation of land and returned or shared control of land to Native Americans. We live on this land, and this land has its own relationships. It holds more stories than ours, and it calls for transformation toward the future we will inhabit, all of us together. Let us honor that. Let us connect with each of the turtles that carry us all the way down. Let us do so with respect and with hope for healing. May it be so."
Thank you, Monica. All right, now is the time of giving. Your Sunday offering combines with your pledges, your time, your connections to one another to make UUCS a welcoming, meaningful home. We share the offering this month with Salem for Refugees, a nonprofit that makes it possible for refugees to rebuild their lives and thrive in Salem, Oregon. We also help combat hunger in Salem through donations of non-perishable food to the Marion Polk Food Share. And those gifts can be put in the little red wagon, which looks beautifully full. So think of that next time you come. Baskets will be passed for your offering of any amount, cash or check made to UUCS, or you may make your gift online through the donate button. Thank you for your generous support of UUCS and the wider Salem community.
Please join with me in saying the words for giving thanks. They are projected up here and also printed in your order of service. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our many gifts, including these offerings.
Reverend Monica will now light the social justice lantern to symbolically kindle our courage to act as compassionate caregivers as we move through the week ahead. And as the flames are released from the chalices.
You can keep going. I'll catch up.
Yes, remember that each of us also needs a darkened shelter to rest our minds and hearts.
Two quick announcements for today. The first is that we have a Family Promise Week coming up when we in this congregation provide hospitality and shelter for families who are transitioning out of houselessness. Our next week will be November 9th through 16th, and more volunteers are still needed to make this a successful week for our guests. There is a Family Promise table in the fellowship hall, and Doug Odell from Family Promise is here during our coffee hour and will give a short presentation about Family Promise. So please do seek out that table, stay for that presentation, learn how you can be involved in this program. And second, today at 2:30, we are having our second digital privacy and cybersecurity for activists training. So if you've ever wondered, what do I need to know about keeping my phone secure, how I communicate about my work for justice, consider coming at 2:30, if it's not already on your calendar, for a couple hours of grounding in how technology really works and what is known about you, how you can make savvy choices in these times. Hope to see some of you there if you're able to stay and join us. And now, please rise in body, in voice, or in spirit for our closing hymn, number 175, We Celebrate the Web of Life. We celebrate the web of life, its magnitude we sing. For we can see divinity in every living thing. A fragment of the perfect whole in cactus and in quail, as much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale. Of ancient dreams we are the sum, our bones link stone to star, and mind our future worlds to come with worlds that were and are. Respect the water, land, and air, which gave all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
While you remain arisen, please, I invite you to take a hold of a hand or touch an elbow or a shoulder, whatever you're comfortable with, to say together our closing words.
May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come. Go in peace. Thank you.